All right, everybody, welcome to the Red Clay Report. Brand new on the Saturday Sanctuary. By the name Red Clay, you already know what we finna talk about. We finna talk straight dog, baby. That's all we talking about here. We ain't talking about Florida. We gonna talk about Florida when it's time to diss somebody. We gon' This is the place where we get to be fans. You know, on the Saturday Sanctuary, week in, week out, we try to be non-biased. You know what I'm saying? We try to keep it level-headed. But here, we talking all dog. However, GP, this ain't a wine and cheese segment. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, we ain't just whining when it's all bad, and we ain't cheesing when it's all good. We're going to face our fan feelings with real facts, and we're going to give a real in-depth analysis of what's going on. We can't just talk. You got to have facts to back it up. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to get right into it with some positivity. You know, it's a Saturday Sanctuary. You know, we're going to keep it positive. We're going to keep it uplifting. We didn't always like what we saw Saturday against Austin Peay, even though we won with 28 points on the board. We thought we should have had probably twice as much. But GP, I need you to be positive. We're going to start out with some blessings. This segment is called The Blessings. I need you to give me 2 to 3 plays or 2 to 3 people that provided us some blessings as the Dog fans on Saturday.
I don't know if I necessarily think of plays per se. Oh, well, one play I think that did stick out, Ellis Robinson getting his first pick.
Absolutely.
I like that. Thought that was dope. That was the first turnover, I think, of the year. We're gonna need way more of those. You know what they say about tips and overthrows. We need those.
We need them.
I would say, I think blessing wise it's not a particular player per se, but all three of the running backs I think were really good. Nate Frazier, particularly Chauncey Bowens, though I think he was probably the best one. And then Dwight Phillips was really good as well. There's a uniqueness to all three of them. I think Chauncey is a little bit more of like a all around type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Nate is kind of a little bit of a jitterbug, a little bit, but clearly he just seems so close to breaking one. Him and Dwight, to be quite honest, it's like if they can get through that second level, I think they'll crib a couple for distance. And I would say like Dwight, my big thing with him is like he's clearly has a lot of electricity. Probably needs to get a little bit stronger, maybe break through some of these tackles that he's had. But his electricity is A1. A1.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Was that your third or was that your second?
That was my second. And I'd say actually my third from what I've seen so far. The receiving core has actually been pretty solid.
Facts.
Very limited drops. Actually, that's a lie. They actually have more drops through 2 games than they did last year, but they haven't been like critical, like, oh my gosh, WTF type of drops. They've just been like towards the end of the game kind of issues, and we kind of move on. But like the main players, like Colby's catching the ball, Colby's doing his thing. I like a lot of his yak, especially when we throw him on like screens. He's been physical. He's a big dude. We finally got Noah Thomas the ball, a little bit, as opposed to like week 1. I've seen Taylor as a freshman get open and get the ball a little bit, and then of course Zach Branch. You know what he can do. He's electric. So just get the ball in his hands. He's doing
That's
his
a
thing.
fact. I have to agree with that. Only thing I say with Dwight, I feel like that ain't even his role to be the strong guy right now. But it's great that you're already showing us what you could do with the natural abilities that God has given you to be that speed demon. Yep. Now we do want to see you put some weight on so we can put you more in between the tackles. But I was surprised at how good he was in between the tackles to begin with. To be the speed demon on the team, you're the speed back. We want to get you out in space. Like you saw last year, his only touches last year was on jet sweeps. Get you out in space, get you on the perimeter. To see him even get through the tackles, and I love it because he's straight north and south. He's straight north and south. He's going to get straight through the hole. He has good vision, too. Obviously, we saw that. I texted you. I said straight up, hey, that cutback, that was a Todd Gurley-esque cutback. He's not Todd Gurley because Todd Gurley's about 6'2", came in freshman 6'2", 220. So he's not that. But that type of vision, that type of speed, that type of elusiveness to cut back like that, hey, none of that happens without the offensive line wiping out the entire defensive line on the right-hand side of Austin Peay. So my first blessing, hey, the offensive line of UGA, they blessed us right there. I'm going to have to take that blessing. We needed it. They blessed us first half, second half, all throughout the game. Goal line, I would have liked for them to get a better push in that when Nate had, as Kirby said, this much But that's hard. That's hard
Yeah.
from Nate. You got to get that. That's hard from the offensive line. Y'all should have been in the position to push him in, but it didn't happen. Regardless of that one play, offensive line, they showed their butt this past weekend on Saturday. I gotta say that they blessed us there. Secondly, I gotta go. I gotta go Kobe Young. You said the wide receiver core as a whole. I gotta go Kobe just because I've never seen in all of our years of being Georgia fans, I've never seen that type of energy from a screen pass. He
Mhm.
took what anytime you gave him the ball, energy is on 100%. He's running hard. He's
Yeah.
trying to make the play. He's trying to fight for every single yard. So I got to give it up to Kobe Young, especially considering all the adversity that he's been through. I got to say, Kobe Young, you blessed us as a UGA fan. Third, I was in between a couple, but I'm gonna go the whole defensive line
Mhm.
specifically, or I'm not gonna go the whole defensive line. I'm talking interior guys. So I'm talking Christian Miller. I'm talking Xavier McLeod. I'm talking Jordan Hall. The way y'all boys got pressure, the way y'all just simply stood 10 toes. I'm gonna
Especially
bleep
when
it
the
out,
ball,
but y'all
especially around
simply
the goal
did
line.
one of our favorite phrases. Y'all sat there and y'all held dick. Y'all did not move. Y'all did not allow yourselves to be moved off the line, bro. Y'all held
Absolutely.
y'all on, and when it was a run play, y'all provided that stopping. Y'all provided that brick wall that we needed, and it was time to get pressure down the middle and get that dual threat quarterback that we've struggled with consistently over the past. I mean, I don't know how many years dual threat quarterbacks we've. I mean, you can go back to Tim Tebow, but it was a different day and age back then. But I'll say since we got Kirby Smart, dual threat quarterbacks have become more of a problem in college football. And since then, it's not because of Kirby. It's just whatever we do at defense, we have struggled with dual threat quarterbacks. You can name it, whoever it is, we struggle with them. We had a dual threat quarterback back there. Whatever, it was Austin P. We all know, we know who the opponent was, but that interior defensive line, they got the pressure to make sure he wasn't comfortable in the pocket. And of course, the edge. They set the edge, made sure he couldn't just be elusive like he wanted to be. So I gotta say, offensive line, Kobe Young, defensive line, y'all blessed us this weekend. So I appreciate y'all. But as a fan, this is not again a wine and cheese podcast. However, we do have complaints. So I gotta say, there were some sanctified sinners out there. Y'all are good with me. But on Saturday, y'all committed some sins, dog. For me, a couple of those people, Gunner, hey, doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like they say in church, we all sin. That don't mean you're a bad person. You just you just fell short. But and that's how I feel about Gunner. I'm gonna go first because I know you have a lot of heat for Gunner. But Gunner, for me, he simply just fell short. There were some of those throws that we wanted to see. Some of that I feel like based off of, or it was confirmed by what Kirby said. You know, he wants to see him be confident as he has been in practice. We want to see you do the things I've already seen you do behind closed doors. So I feel like it wasn't anxiety. I feel like it was a little bit of plain and simple. It sticks out to me. I think I can't put myself in Gunner's shoes, but when you look back at the only complaints we had about Gunner in those two games he played, when we're talking about SEC championship versus Texas in the second half, and then we're talking Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. The only complaint was that errant throw he threw when he was about to take a sack. Nobody was even over there.
It's like it's the awareness.
Yeah,
Or
so that was the only complaint we had, and I feel like Gunner, based off of how Oscar Delp describes Gunner, he's been preparing hard like he's the starter since he got here. So I think he took that to heart and was just like, hey, I'm going to be on time. Hey, I'm going to make sure I protect the ball. You got to think Gunner is I'll say he is a defensive head coach's best friend. Protect the
yes,
ball. Protect the ball. He's Kirby Smart's. He exemplifies the biggest things that Kirby Smart says are those staple statements from Kirby. We got to protect the ball. We got to protect the ball. He likes a quarterback that protects the ball. I'm going to protect the ball. I'm going to make the smart decision, even if you don't like my decision of a check down, because I may have missed somebody for a 20-yard dig, as I think you were talking about with Kobe earlier.
mm-hmm.
All right, we didn't like it, but well, that's not what happened. He actually ran. But the 2-minute drill, he probably could have waited some. I'll say it was one play on that 2-minute drill. He probably could have waited and there might have been somebody open. But you can't call the check down a bad pass. It wasn't dumb. It wasn't a negative. It didn't put us in a bad position.
You know what's crazy about that 2 minute or 4 to 2 minute? He actually performed that. I would argue to perfection to get them down onto the 1 yard line, we just didn't score. So everybody was frustrated. But that entire situation of like how it was ran, how they were able to get the ball back, move the ball down the field, like that was fine.
Facts.
Honestly, I think that was A1. That's what you asked for. That's what you look for, especially when you have. I think we had like one timeout, or at one point one timeout or no timeouts. Um, I wasn't even overly upset with that play calling, but I think if I was to say my three centers this weekend, uh, Gunner would be one. I think my biggest concern is that now that we're not playing, I think our next non-conference opponent is like outside of Georgia Tech is we play Charlotte, but that's like later on. I think during the
Yeah,
year.
it's right before the Tech game.
Yeah. Um, but we played Tennessee this week, and I've watched Tennessee now for the first 2 weeks, and they air the ball, they throw the ball. Am I
Absolutely.
concerned about a Josh Heupel offense? Not necessarily. Kirby has had very great success about that. I think my concern is in the event that their offense does seem to find success and end up scoring here and there because they have scored occasionally. Um, I'm not certain that we are capable of getting into a shootout. And so my first center I'd say would be Gunner. Again, you mentioned this earlier, but I think he needs to whatever confidence that Kirby has in him and the team has in him in practice, show that in the game. I think it's a little concerning that through 2 games, um, you're still talking about confidence issues and also like you're not throwing the ball as well. You're not pushing the ball down the field, I should say. These are the games that you're supposed to be pushing the ball down the field, throwing up the stat numbers where everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like they put up 60 or
Yeah.
whatever, and you are like getting excited, but then everybody's like, "All right, hold your horses." Like you played Austin P.
Mm-hmm.
Like we won that game 28-6, which is not encouraging. And I know a lot of people like to point back to like 2022 where we played. Who do we play? Kent State, I think.
Yeah.
I think we played Kent State, or I could be wrong. I think it was either Sanford 2022 and Kent State 2021.
Both. Both.
Either way, yeah. The issue, and we didn't play very great in either of those games. For context, for everybody,
Yeah.
but I think the issue is in 2022 in that week 2 game. In week 1, when we played Oregon, we beat them 49-3,
Mm-hmm.
and then the week before when we played year before when we played Clemson, that was a defensive battle. Like we won that 10-3, I think, because of a pick six. Yeah, 10-3, but the
Talking about
defense
with
was
JT.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
10-3.
I I think that I'm just concerned that um Gunner, you have to push the ball down the field. The weapons aren't really an excuse, but all three of these things of my centers tie in line. My second one, I would say, would be Mike Bobo,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. Play calling is shaky for me right now so far. Entirely too many screens. I understand that like screens are like an extension of the run game and whatnot, but he is addicted to these screens, and I don't understand. The one thing I got to give him credit for is the run game. The run game seems to be fine. Like the push seems to be pretty good. The run fits seem to be really good, but the passing game leaves a lot to be desired, and it's frustrating because we got guys that are getting open. Your play calling could get a little better, and that's why I said it's more. I'm conflicted if it's. I think it's all three of these things actually. So that's my second center. My third center, I actually would say it's the offensive line, but not in the run game, but it's more in pass protection. I think
Mm-hmm.
this has more to do with injuries, specifically with the right side of the line, than anything. But right now, the pass protection is subpar, very
Yeah.
subpar. Um, and I think it's what forces Gunner to check down because he goes through. He'll look at his first read. If the first read he feels like it's not there, then he's either tucking it and running it, or he's trying to check it down to somebody like in the flat or like that's very short. And it's just like, all right, your completion percentage is mad high. He ends up with a sneaky. He'll end up with like a sneaky like 250 yards or whatever. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like you ain't throw the ball or push the ball down the field. You was checking the ball down the whole time.
Yeah.
Again, taking care of the ball. I'm fine. You've thrown 2 touchdowns this year, but you threw a screen pass. Ironically, the screen pass to Zach Branch was not the first read. It was a check
Well, it
down.
wasn't a screen. That was just a. I think that was just a.
It was a out. It wasn't. It wasn't his first read.
Yeah.
He threw it. He just threw it to him because he was in the flat. And then you were on the 2 yard line and you threw the ball to London Humphreys in the back of the end zone. That was actually a great throw.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one I actually felt like, oh, I saw you go through two different reads and you found London coming on the back of the end zone and tossed him a strike. I like that. Do more of that. But like I said, my third one is pass protection. I think it's like I said, I think it's causing him to be shaky, specifically with the offensive line, and it's really the injuries right now because Juan Gasson, we've seen him on like the few plays that we saw him in game one, road great, moving dudes. Ernest Green had been solid, but he's having traditionally has had back issues. Unfortunately, I think when he first came in, he had back surgery and whatnot. So he's trying to, I think that recovery process has just been a bit much on him, kind of. So I think he's unfortunately probably going to forever have like stiff back issues. But I think, are in these first 2 weeks, and this is what sucks. Like the years before, when we had won national championships, we kind of had our first 5, I would say maybe first 6 guys solidified. For most people that don't know, Georgia rotates a lot, but on the offensive line, there's a lot of continuity, and then they'll maybe bring like a guard in here or there. They don't really typically rotate tackles as much. They got their guys. But now I think last year because of injuries and this year right now because of injuries, we have really had to like rotate to try to figure out who is going to be this cohesive 5. Right now, I think our best offensive lineman, shockingly, has been Drew Bobo. And I say shockingly more so because I don't think that coming in, I would have expected him to ever be a starter.
He's not the stars guy. He's not the guy that everybody. Yeah. He's not the guy the NFL scouts are coming to see.
Yeah, he's just been gritty and he's been consistent, and he's been solid he was solid as a backup center last year. He's been solid as a center so far these 2 games.
And I mean, he ended up having to be a starter last year.
Yep, exactly. He ended up having to be a starter because of injuries at times last year. So he's been pretty solid. And then I would say Monroe Freeling has been pretty solid
at left tackle. The most surprising after personally how much hate I had, or you know what I'm saying. Again, this ain't no wine and cheese segment, but I was whining heavy about Monroe Freeling, especially after that Notre Dame game.
Yeah, you got to dance if you gonna play left tackle. Sometimes you're gonna be on the island. You got to be the dancer there. Like that's really what it is.
And that wasn't happening out there.
Yeah, and I can't lay it all at the feet of the O-line. Some of that blame also has to go to Stacey Searles as the offensive line coach because it's like, well, what are you teaching? Mm-hmm. You're getting 6'7", 6'6". You're getting these big dudes that's well over 300 pounds.
Yeah,
but they're playing soft and they're playing below their capabilities. Like, you're recruiting these dudes. You're recruiting big bodies. It's hard to find big bodies, straight up. Mm-hmm. But at some point, the technique, the want to, the will has to come through. And that's where there's a play when we were talking about like this goal line stand where Nate gets stopped at the 1. The whole right side completely missed their lane, and they're like 3-4 yards deep into the end zone. And that's why Nate gets stopped at the 1. And it's just like, you ain't moved nobody. You ain't touched nobody.
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem.
That's a problem when he's getting stopped and y'all aren't behind him or near him to even push him through. But to piggyback off of that,
they're pushing your man so he can just walk into the end zone.
Right. But if something happens, it's just like your man should make that play right next to you, not you in front of him and he behind you. But also got to give credit to Austin Peter. I don't remember, unfortunately, the linebacker's name. I do remember them emphasizing over and over again he's 5'10", something pounds. He hit Nate at the point of attack. Like, that was a great hit. Like, it was perfect. It was textbook. It's what you're taught. So I can't be mad at it. However, now you got to have more heart. You're the 4-star running back. You got to make that happen. I will say for me, the people that committed Saturday sins, Corus Gunner was my one. We need that. It ain't too hard on Gunner. I don't have that much smoke for Gunner. We'll talk about it in a minute. In general, wrapping up offensive and defensive recaps from this past Saturday. But Gunner 1, 2. Of course, I'm with you, Mike Bobo. I don't hate Bobo. I think I'm coming from a different perspective. So hear me out, Georgia fans. It's not that I don't think Bobo is a good play call. I don't necessarily want to call him great, but I don't have a problem with the play calling as a whole. I don't think Bobo is who's our offensive coordinator at the beginning of UGA's tenure. I mean Kirby's tenure at UGA.
Jim
In
Chaney.
the huh?
You said who's been the offensive coordinators?
Chaney. He's not Chaney. I think Jim Chaney was just way too predictable. Comeback. We're running comebacks on the outsides. We know that's happening. And then we're running up the middle on second down, no matter what happened. And then on third, we might run it, or we're just gonna figure it out and put Jake Fromm in the crazy position.
Little play action.
Same stuff every single time, right? I'm not saying that Bobo's that because he's not. He's not. I would not say Bobo is. The only time I want to call Bobo predictable is when he's throwing a screen. So my issue with him is the screens, and not because you're calling screens. It's because I feel like, was I lied to? Like, if you guys recall last year, a lot of times we were told we're throwing these screens because it's an extension of the run game. And obviously, clear as day, they wasn't lying. They wasn't tripping. We had issues running the ball last year. Clear as day. So I understood all the screens last year because we can't run the ball. So I'm not tripping off the screens. If a screen can give us 3 yards and up, cool. That's a win for us because it's technically a run play. Cool. I'm not tripping. This year we see, again, clear as day. Same way we saw we couldn't run the ball clear as day last year. This year we see clear as day. We have no issues running the ball. So now I need you to tell me, why are we throwing these screens so much? Is it because you're trying to warm or protect our quarterback? We've seen him do way more than, I don't know how many screens we threw in the Notre Dame game or the second half of the Texas game. I don't recall it being that much, but I'm going to go back and watch just because I do want to see what did we see successfully. I want it to be in my recent memory, what we saw successfully from Gunner Stockton. I watched the Texas game. I watched the Notre Dame game back in the past. We all know Gunner was not the issue in the Notre Dame game, in the Notre Dame loss. However, I want to see what type of throws he was able to throw so that I can see, all right, this is clearly, I just want to remember just to see if he's missing anything he's done in the past, which, to your point, you feel like it's concerning. I think it is concerning, but it gives me a sigh of relief in a sense as a Georgia fan. At least I know it's not the fact that he can't do it. It's the fact that right now, for whatever reason, within yourself, and we know being the quarterback in Georgia is that's probably one of the hardest jobs outside of being the head coach. That's the hardest job in the state of Georgia at the end of the day. So we've seen people boo Jake Fromm in his last game as a Georgia Bulldog. We've seen people hate Stetson into a national champion. And then after he became a national champion, you still have people that still hated him until he became a back-to-back national championship winner. And you still probably have people who will still have something negative to say about Stetson Bennett. So being a Georgia football starting quarterback it's a very high-pressure job. So I can't say that it doesn't require for you to, not coddle your quarterback, but get him warmed up. I just don't know are you throwing the screens because you're trying to get him warmed up? In my opinion, from watching Gunner in the past, watching Gunner in high school, we love high school. We love Georgia high school football here. So I've seen Gunner's not tape in high school. I've watched full games of Raven County when he was at Raven. So to me, I don't feel like a quarterback like that who is not a gunslinger, but he throws the ball with some speed. He throws the ball with force. A screen pass is not going to help him get warmed up, in my opinion. So now I need answers from Mike Bobo and company as to why we're throwing these screens, because in the past you told me it's because our run game is not there, and this is an extension of the run game. Now the run game's there. I need you to let me know why we're throwing these screens. Third, Saturday sins. Same as you. Offensive line, passing scheme. I do feel like it's not, again, people say, coaches say, parents say all the time, it's not as bad as it looked, and it's not as going to always be as good as it looked either. So It wasn't as bad as it looked. Some of the times Gunner was panicking. Sometimes he was just leaving the pocket when it was fine. I said that would maybe happen once or twice. But there were times where the passing scheme didn't line. I mean, the passing protection did not line up to where it should have been. It wasn't at that standard. I do attribute that, although I have to put them at the Saturday centers. Y'all are there. Y'all in the third spot, only because I do attribute it to continuity. I feel like in the run game, obviously looking at my frame, I've never been an offensive lineman, not even in Pee Wee football. But I do feel like, and from playing football, I do know from my perspective, of course, run blocking is all about pure heart. You do have to be intelligent. You do. Intelligent to the extent of knowing what you're supposed to do and is this a gap scheme? What is this? What are we doing? But pass, I feel like has to be intelligence. It has to be trust of the man next to you. And it's also intelligence of knowing what's going on. I feel like the lack of continuity, however, has attributed to some of the pass pro issues we've had. So I give him the third spot, but I give him a break. Also, I feel like some of the issues we've looked at, it's also Gunner just leaving the pocket maybe a little bit too early. You also have, like I told you offline, the biggest evidence of development of that offensive line, whether it's Kirby, whether it's Stacey Searles, you have Josh Jackson, who we knew previously only from playing next to Bronny James, dog, in AAU basketball during the summer. That's the only reason we knew him. And not to say that in a bad way, but like, he was a pretty decent basketball player. We were looking at him from the age of like 12, 13 as people were calling him Baby Shaq. 6'10". He could barely dunk because he couldn't really have the hops like that. But you took this kid who was, if you will, a middle school youth basketball phenom into now he's a starting left or right. Well, he's supposed to be in the depth chart from what I looked at. He's supposed to really be behind Monroe Freeling. But because of the injury to Juan Gaskin, and then also, what was it? Ernest had an issue as well this past weekend. So now he's the right tackle. So not only is he starting when he didn't plan to start him, this is somebody who's played basketball most of their lives, the majority of their life. We turned him into a tackle, a left tackle that's playing right tackle that played basketball all his life and wasn't supposed to be starting. That's the evidence of development in my perspective. I feel the smoke for Stacey Searles. I do, but I feel like the proof of development is there. This is our confessional segment. We're going to be real. We get to be fans here. We get to confess how we truly feel and how we see it and call it how we see it. We just got to face the facts at the end of the day, though. But in my perspective, I feel like the pass pro wasn't there, right? But the facts are they played Monroe Freeling, right? 1. They played Ja. That's 2. They played Michael Morris. That's 3. We saw Daniel Calhoun also yesterday. That's 4. We saw Don Glover as well. That's 5 offensive linemen. We saw Drew Bobo, right? That's 6. We saw Juan Gaston. I mean, we didn't see Juan because he was hurt. We saw Michael Unai. Is it? I think it is Unai.
I think so. But
right. But forgive us, Michael, if that's not how we pronounce your name. We're gonna get it right. We saw him yesterday, right? We saw Ernest. We didn't see Ernest because he was hurt. We saw Bo Hughley, right? So we saw all these different offensive linemen yesterday, right? So the facts are, yeah, you can feel how you feel about the offensive lineman. You can feel like the pass pro wasn't there, but the facts are, look how many we had to play and look at where they are in the depth chart. I just named Daniel Calhoun, right? Or I'm sorry. Yeah, I named Daniel Calhoun, then Don Glover. Daniel is second on the left guard chart. Don Glover's third on the right guard chart in the depth chart. You got your third string left guard playing SEC football. Granted, we're playing Austin Peay, but at the end of the day, it's still Georgia football. He's on the field. So the facts are there to support the fact that the lack of continuity is going to do that for your pass pro. But all in all, being in our confessional segment, how are you feeling as a fan? And I'll provide you some facts if I feel like you know what I'm saying, you're feeling and ignoring the facts. But how are you feeling as a Georgia fan right now about the offense as a whole?
I'm conflicted. I don't really know how to feel. And the reason I say that, I know that's a cop-out answer, but the only thing I really like, I like 2 things. I like the run game, and I like the weapons that we have offensively. The reason I'm unsure, I would say, how to feel is because I feel like the receivers and especially the tight ends so far this year have been underutilized with the tight end talent that we have. I know we just suffered a loss, unfortunately, with Ethan Barbour. breaking his ankle. I think that's
Yeah,
what it was.
big shout out to him. We definitely want you to come back healthy. I mean,
Yeah, that
how
sucked because I would argue that I don't know if I'd say he's our best blocker, but he had been blocking very well for especially for a freshman. The fact that you were a starter says
yeah,
a
you
lot.
are a is starter, but at the end of the day, they trust you to go out there and play one and
Like,
block
exactly.
or potentially be run a
Yeah,
route.
and the only reason excuse me, the only way you get on the field early, especially on offense with Kirby at UGA, is you have to be able to block. That's like a known thing. You have to be able to block for your brothers and whatnot. He clearly had been really good at it. I can't even remember if he had caught more than like a pass or two these past two games, but I know for a fact his run blocking has been tremendous for sure. Um, I just want to see more explosiveness. I want to see us throw the ball down the field. I genuinely do feel like we have the weapons between Kobe, Noah
Mhm.
Thomas, Zachariah Branch, Taylor, even like CJ getting into the weeds and like CJ Wiley and like Sokobe White and London Humphreys. Like we got guys. We got guys you can throw to. And I didn't even mention the tight ends. We have tight ends you can throw to. Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky. Now, unfortunately, that Ethan's hurt. I think
Yeah.
Jaden Riddell is going to get more burn. Going
We
to have
missed
to.
Jaden Riddell a couple times on the
Yeah.
wheel route and London Humphreys running like a post clear out.
Mhm.
Um and then he missed. But I think he'll hit that later on, but go ahead.
And then we got and then Elias Williams scored the first game against Marshall.
Facts.
So again, clear as day, we got those guys. Not to mention you can just dump it off to the running backs coming out of the
Mhm.
battlefield as well. The the weaponry is there now. Everything really genuinely has to come together, and a lot of that is Gunner needing to trust his teammates. I think as well to like or trust that it'll be there and that you can make those throws. Um, if you made them in practice, obviously practice is hard. Um,
I mean,
but
Kirby said they try to make not
if
just
you
Kirby, past Georgia players have said practice is meant and has been and always will be harder than the game.
harder in the game, exactly. So if practice has been hard and will be harder, you gotta we gotta
You gotta do it. You gotta just do it. You gotta
you gotta
execute.
figure it out. And again, I'm not the biggest Gunner fan. I think you know that,
Yeah.
but I think it's more so. I feel like he's limited, um, and it's he's clearly can move a little bit, but it's like I think he's clearly used to a run first offense for
Yeah.
sure. And this is where I think I find a little bit of issue with Bobo, right? Bo coming out of high school, like Gunner was like a French 5-star, right? Bobo, he had originally committed to South Carolina or was training to commit to South Carolina, one of those, because of Mike Bobo. Like Bobo, like this is your guy. This has been your quote
Plain
unquote
and
pet
simple, this
project.
is your guy.
Yeah, like you've gone to bat for him and all that. Whereas Todd Monken before had gone to bat for like Carson, and I think you know Carson Beck is kind of doing his thing down in Miami right now. I think the first year that we had Carson as a starter, I think he did very well. Last year, I think he tried to do too much and had to play hero ball. Not to mention, we had some O line issues, couldn't really run the ball
Wide
with
receiver
injury,
issue.
and the wide receivers couldn't catch to save their freaking lives. But I think he had issues with Bobo as well. I think he genuinely was like expecting to be under Todd Monken, and it just did not work out that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because Todd and now you see Todd's in the NFL. He's got Lamar Jackson, another MVP. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. He's always known what he's doing, in my opinion. Um, Bobo, if this is gonna be your guy, y'all two got to figure it out. And the reason I say y'all got to figure it out is because, again, we're in SEC play. You could argue that like everybody is a little shaky. I would say right now, not even just in the SEC, but like kind of like nationally. But Tennessee offensively looks pretty solid. Um, their defense was pretty solid last year, and it's still probably pretty solid this year. I'd say you play Bama, you play Tennessee this coming Saturday. You play Bama in 2 Saturdays. You still got Florida, even though Florida lost to South Florida, but Florida still has been solid.
That don't mean nothing when it comes down to the cocktail party.
Exactly. You
That's
still
just what
got
it
Florida.
is.
You still got Ole Miss. You still got Texas. You still got Kentucky, and Kentucky just played Ole Miss to the wire.
And you got Mississippi State that just
You
beat
got Mississippi
the
State, who
ranked
just
Arizona
beat
State.
exactly who just beat a ranked Arizona State, and you got Georgia Tech at the end of the year. So basically, what I'm saying is, you got games that the quarterback is going to have to win with his arm. It's not just going to only be the run game. And I think where I don't necessarily want to say frustration lies is that it just feels like we're going backwards. Where I really thought, and when I say going backwards, Kirby first got here, I would say like that 2016 to like 2019 era style of Kirby Smart UGA football, as opposed to the like 2020 to 2022
Mm-hmm.
era style where we became explosive. We're running the ball. We're very balanced, but we're running the ball, pushing the ball down the field. We're scoring. We're playing defense, and we're locking people down, and we get the ball, and we basically running the score up, or we choking the life out of teams, um, as well. And I feel like, unfortunately, we're reverting back. And I do think that like Kirby, he mentions wanting to be explosive all the time, but I also feel like he gives off this vibe of like he would love to just win 10-3, 10-7, or 14-7, as opposed to me personally. I want to win 50-3. Obviously, is that realistic all the time? No, it's not. But you can throw the ball, and the reason I'm in my last point, I kind of am a little confused about like where we are at, and I'm like, is it the quarterback? Is it the offensive coordinator? I don't know. It leads me to believe sometimes a little bit that it's the quarterback for this particular reason. When we have put Ryan Puglisi, the backup quarterback, and I know everybody's favorite thing is to like love the backup quarterback, whatever. He clearly has a stronger arm than Gunner. Um, he doesn't really have touch on his throws all the time. That's been his big issue, especially during like spring camp and whatnot. But I can see the improvement that has happened clearly over the summer. But he's unafraid to rip the ball. He was unafraid in Marshall. Thankfully, also like when he's gotten in, they're letting him throw the ball. They're not just letting him hand the ball off. He's making
Mm-hmm.
these throws. He threw his first touchdown to Elias Williams against the Marshall game. And then last week, when we played Austin Peay, he rips a ball to Sokovie White in between three people that if Sokovie catches it, I think Sokovie's gone. And I think that's 6. And I personally have yet to see this season Gunner make those type of throws. And obviously their arm strength is a little bit different, but I think it's just more of a confidence. Like, you're confident in your arm, you're confident in your abilities. I think Gunner is a little hesitant at the current moment where he's just like, the one time like I said, I've seen him like really rip a ball was when he threw to London Humphreys in the back of the end zone, and he
Yeah.
went through multiple reads. So I'm a little concerned, at least walking into SEC play, because if Gunner plays like he has played these last 2 games, at some point you're probably gonna have to make a switch just for um, confidence issues, really. And what's really frustrating is like he's a redshirt junior, so like you've been in this system. This is your 4th year in the system now. At this point, like same, well, excuse me, 4th year, excuse me, 3rd year in, um, 3rd year in Bobo's system, 4th year in general in this UGA system. The play calling, the playbook apparently is the same. The play caller is just different. But
Yeah.
you've had the same play caller at this point for 3 years now. So you know what to expect.
Yeah. I do feel like the facts are, to your feelings, the facts are, I don't think it looked as bad as we feel like it did. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He missed a couple of throws that I like to look at it this way when you know what I'm saying? A lot of times going to school for therapy, giving people advice, a lot of times you got to ask yourself, if they did this, would it be perfect behavior? So it's like if Gunner did everything we wanted him to do, he would have been perfect. So it's
Yep.
like we got to give room for mistakes. We got to give room for growth. We can talk about how many years he's had in the program. It's the same thing we seeing with Arch right now, but at least Gunner. I won't say Gunner looks better than Arch. You look more consistent. You look more trustable, and that's just not to compare Gunner to Arch. It's just simply to make the realization that you know he's gonna miss a few things. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna try to be comfortable.
Yep.
Carson, when he first started out, he looked extremely shaky in that Clemson game first year out.
Yeah. Oh,
So
the
it's like,
first
I mean, last year he looked extreme. Yeah, he looked extremely
then
shaky last year in the Clemson game.
then he turned it on in the second half, and everybody's like, "Okay, thank you, thank
Right, right,
God,
right. And
got
then of course you
got my
got
dog back."
him. Yeah, and then you got him in the UT Martin game last year. I think we played Ball State. I mean, his first year starting. Ball State was cool, but we also ran into that issue in South Carolina week 3. We looking crazy.
Yeah.
Let me go back. I
The
think
Auburn, the
we
Auburn, the Auburn game.
Auburn game, first game on the road. So that's why I'm like, let's also temper and manage our expectations. First game on the road, he looked insane at the Auburn game. If it wasn't for a Brock caught that
Hey,
pass one
yeah,
handed,
Brock,
that
yeah,
ball
Brock,
shouldn't have been thrown.
yeah,
So it's
Brock,
like,
sure.
I know the pass you're talking about to Jacoby from Pug. I'm not tripping if he don't throw that because that's so risky. The risk reward there ain't balancing up. It's also another comparison to real life. The backup quarterback is the most loved guy in any college town.
Exactly. That's how I said
The
it.
same way we don't do this. We are committed men, but like your side chick or people that choose to have that, you don't know what they're like in the starter role. You don't know what this girl is like if she really got to be your girlfriend. She's just who you want to hang out with when you want to hang out with her. Pug, we don't know what he's going to do in the starting role. He
Right.
might clamp up. It's easy to sit out there and be a gunslinger. We up 40 to whatever we were last week, and now I get to come in and sling the ball around. It's I'm relaxed. I'm not the guy. Y'all aren't depending on me. Same way we saw Gunner in the SEC championship game, Notre Dame game. I think that was a different approach. It wasn't about him not having to be the guy. You know, you're the only one we can depend on. We couldn't throw Pug out there last year in the
Right.
Notre Dame game. There was no way we could have did that. But I think his approach and his mentality then is just, hey, if it ain't me, then it ain't. We ain't gonna do nothing. So I gotta be it. It's gotta be me. I think here it's like I can't mess up, right? I think it's a different type of anxiety. So I feel like the facts with that is we just, you know what I'm saying, we can feel how we feel, and of course you feel how you feel about Gunner. You also have always not been the biggest Gunner fan in general. So I think he can be a limited passer, but I think he can also be better passer than you give him credit for. Excuse me. And I think at the end of the day, I'm going to take the quarterback that can protect the ball. I'm going to take the quarterback that is clearly a leader and his teammates are going to play for him and play hard for him. And I got to take the quarterback that can use his legs and he uses them intelligently. You know what I'm saying? He takes the check downs. He does this. He will scramble out the pocket, all of that. But I think at the end of the day, we can talk about how many years he's had in the system. This is his first year really on the field. So I think we got to give him room to simply get better. Hey, you got to get better, though. I'm not giving you room to mess up just to mess up. I'm giving you room to miss a Jaden Riddell running down, streaking down the sideline because London had a clear out route and you could have had him for a touchdown or at least a 30-yard throw or a 30-yard gain. We're not just saying we're going to give you grace, or I'm not saying I'm going to give you grace just because of that. I'm just saying I'm not going to whine about it because it's your second start, but I need to see improvement. So I do think it is something we need to see from him, and it's something we need to see from the offense, whether it's Bobo. I think Bobo gave him some plays to throw it downfield. I think he missed some. I think some of them weren't there because of pass pro. But at the end of the day, I'm comfortable if I'm facing the facts. I'm comfortable with the fact that we know Gunner can do what we're asking him to do. He's not Carson Beck. I'm not saying that's what we're asking him to be, but he can excel in the passing game. However, you're just not doing it right now. I'll give you a pass for Austin P. But hey, next week in Tennessee,
You can't.
I'm not saying you got to throw 10 passes, complete 10 passes down the field. I'm just saying if it's gonna be 3, I need them 3.
Yeah, like I think here's the thing about Gunner. Like, although I may not necessarily be like the biggest fan, he is, if I'm not mistaken, like the number 3 passer career wise, like all time.
Talking about in Georgia? Nah,
Yeah,
but
the Georgia high school
he has that record.
Yeah. So like,
It ain't 3, it's 1.
nah, I think it's 3 because I think he's behind.
Oh, you talking about behind Deshaun Watson and
No, he's in front of Deshaun. I'm looking at it now. Actually, he's in front of Deshaun by like 600 yards, but he's right behind Trevor Lawrence and Aaron Follow, who plays at Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, and it's like 13,000 yards. So the point is, clearly you can throw the ball. Clearly, like that's been your thing. But I also am aware that like this is prime time SEC ball. Like as great as Georgia high school football is, and I would argue it's like top 3 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole another level.
It
Like
is. And I
SEC
think that's
football.
bringing the anxiety to him. I think he believes. I think he's gotten a little too in his mind a little bit because obviously, based off of what Kirby has said, we've seen it at practice. So I think as a fan base, as a coaching staff, y'all gotta boost him up. Hey,
Yeah,
you can get out here. We've seen it. It'd be different. Like I said earlier, you think it's concerning, or your concern is the fact that Kirby said, "I need him to do what I've seen him do in practice."
right.
I am comfortable. I'm more comfortable in that response than anything else because at least I know he can do it. At least I see him doing it against a top tier, to me, in my opinion, right now, top 3 to 5 defense. Talking defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. Top 3 to 5 defense. He's doing that every day against them. You've seen him do it there. I'm comfortable with hearing, hey, I've seen him doing it. I don't know what he's doing out there. I need him to get it together. So I'm comfortable with that more than anything. So that's where I'm at with the offense. But we can move on to our confessional about the defense. Not too much really here for me. But like I just said, top 3 to 5 defense. I just need to make sure that they can do it next week against Tennessee. I need the DBs. My biggest pet peeve, as you know, GP, turn your head. Turn your head around. So
Ball.
we got Joey.
We've seen
He's
it
going
twice.
to air it out. It's not
Yeah,
even Joey. We got Tennessee. We got Heupel. It's going to be
yeah,
fast. It's going to be aired out. The
yep.
opportunities are going to be there for not only picks, the opportunities are just going to be there to simply play the ball well in the air. Turn your head around.
Just sticking to, I guess, the secondary element. So far, they've been pretty good. I actually feel like the mistakes, if I've seen any, have really come from like backups. And I think in a game like Tennessee, you're probably not going to see backups.
DeMello,
Honestly,
brother.
yeah. That's, I mean,
Hey,
and
brother.
and I've only seen 2 things with him. The first one was in the Marshall game where he clearly needed to get in the weight room. Second one was last week where it's just like just turn and look for the ball. You right there, just turn and look, get your head around if you can get your head around. Um, but this is going to be a real test. Like I said, I've seen Joey Aguilar. I think that's his name. I find it very interesting that like he transferred to either transferred from UCLA or came from UCLA
Yeah,
transferred
transferred from UCLA to
to
Tennessee. It was a
Tennessee.
swap. It was essentially a
Yeah,
trade between him and
yeah,
Iamaliava.
yeah. I was like, and Nico Iamaleava transferred to UCLA, and Joey Aguilar looks like the significantly better quarterback so far, which is crazy because Nico had so much hype coming out of high school, and couldn't have told you where Joey Aguilar is even from
Hmm.
beforehand. Before this offseason, to be honest with you, after I found out like Nico left,
He is
but
from Antioch, California. Is that where from Brock is from?
now Brock's from Napa, but like
Oh yeah.
Antioch isn't there. Antioch's in the Bay. Napa's like further north, like
Okay.
wine country. Um,
Right.
but I like personally. I think what I've seen, I guess, out of
Jesus.
Aguilar so far, even though they ain't played nobody. I mean, they played Syracuse. Well, I can't say they didn't play nobody. Excuse me. They played Syracuse.
Who almost lost to UConn. They ain't played
Yes,
nobody. And I love Fran Brown. Shouts to Fran Brown.
they're
But they're
just
not where they were last year.
yeah. Syracuse is not where they were last year.
Yeah.
But they put up 70, I think, against like East Tennessee State
Mm-hmm.
this past weekend. Airing the ball out a lot to Chris Brazel, and Mike Matthews.
Mike made
So
a phenomenal play on the ball. So
yeah,
I can't.
absolutely. I saw him split 2 guys and like Moss somebody. So I'm like, again, the everybody knows the goal of Heupel is to get vertical. Like they will get vertical. They will try to run the ball.
Run the ball to get vertical,
Yeah,
if I may say.
and I just feel like those are the 2 guys to really like pay attention to. I guess in terms of like the receiving room. So I'm really gonna need Ellis and who really seems to be more of a starter now actually because
Nah,
I
he's
feel like
definitely starting. He's
I
definitely
feel like I
starting.
saw a lot of Dalen and Ellis last week more so than
That's definitely what you saw this past Saturday. I think Ellis
Daniel
definitely
Harris.
started. He definitely
Yeah,
started.
that's not. I did see Daniel Harris play some games, and I know that like they do this like rotation sometimes of three, like depending on I guess who's hot for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
This is the opportunity I would say to still like really establish yourself as like who's gonna be my starting secondary.
Yeah.
I'm think out at safety. I have seen a lot of Kyron Jones next to KJ Bolden. I'd actually say KJ Bolden has been electric so far in the first two games. I know you. Hey, I know how you feel.
I love KJ. I need more. I do not like him tackling in the open field. I do not like it. The
I
angles are not always there. The thump is surely not there, and he don't wrap up. So it's
yeah,
like
it's the wrapping up aspect. I think is probably
it's
the biggest thing.
he has concerns at every level of tackling for me. You aren't Richie LeCount. You aren't small and powerful, right? You are pretty small, frail frame naturally. You put some muscle on. Credit to KJ for sure. I need you to either really bring that thump and not miss, or I need you to wrap up. I've seen him try to wrap up and miss. I've seen him try to thump and miss. Whatever you're gonna do, whether you gonna be the thumper or you gonna be the guy that is a sure tackler and wrap up, just don't miss. I don't care which one you do. It
I
looks cool to be the safety that brings the thump, but what really works is you just simply being the
tackle.
sure tackler. So I need to see that from him. That's my
I
only
like.
thing with PJ.
I personally will say like I like his run fits though. Like he's where he needs to be at all
Yeah, I
times.
will agree. He's never out of. I will say he's not out of position. I think he was out of. Was that the? It was one game last year. He just kept. I'm just like, hey, yo, like,
Yeah,
KJ, you out of position.
he was a freshman.
Yeah, it's cool. I haven't seen him out of position, and I trust him to not be. You have to be because you are the seniority back there on the back end.
he's a leader of the secondary at this point. Now, I think Kyron Jones has been pretty solid, and then
Yeah,
I haven't really seen anything negative out of Ja'Cory Thomas. But again, these guys really ain't been tested. I don't think offensively.
facts.
If I recall correctly, I don't know if we've given up a touchdown yet so far. It's only been
We
two
have not.
games, so we've only
Nah, we
given up.
gave up a touchdown against Marshall.
Did we really? I thought it was a field goal.
45-7. It was
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter.
Okay. It was back. I mean, it was backup. So I lied. We
Yeah,
have given up one touchdown, but we've given up
it was literally the
13 points.
last drive of the game.
Yeah. So we've given up what 13 points so far.
Or it wasn't last, second to last Marshall drive of the game. But yeah, we've given up 13 points. Yes,
Total 13 points. Not bad.
Touchdown, 2 field goals. We're giving up 3 scoring possessions, which is not bad at all.
The unit I would say I'm most impressed with currently right now is definitely the linebacking core.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I like the rotation that they have. CJ Allen is playing like a man possessed. He's playing like he wants to be a first round draft pick. This year, he's playing with more speed. I think it's just since you came in as a freshman, you weren't. I can't say you weren't supposed to play necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
you wildly pipped Jamon Dumas Johnson.
You straight up jacked his job. I mean,
A
you
lot
got
of
the opportunity and made the most out of it.
exactly a lot of that was him getting injured, but it's also like you never gave the position up either, and you did well. Um, I would say you became faster. Your recognition became better. A lot of that probably just comes with reps. Raylan Wilson is also playing like another man possessed. I like his run fits as well. He's doing his thing. I think he got a sack this past week. He's one of the few people I know that has a
No,
sack.
CJ got a sack this past week.
CJ. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know he's one of the few people that has a sack so far. And then I like what Chris Cole is bringing. Chris Cole is
Absolutely.
a freaking unicorn. I can't wait to when he's a full time starter.
Adam
He,
Anderson.
yeah, I mean, but the thing is, Chris Cole's not even like a pass rusher for real. Chris Cole probably will be better as like an off ball.
He's more of a cover than Adam Anderson.
Yeah,
Adam
but
Anderson was more of a pass rusher than Chris Cole, but they are the same, long, lanky, and also still powerful.
right. And then Justin Williams also doing the thing. So like my top four backers,
Same fit.
yeah, my top four backers right now doing a thing. And then you mentioned this earlier. The D line again has not really been tested yet, but I like what we've done. And I would say you haven't really been tested. You will definitely be tested this week. Tennessee has a really good offensive line. And they
Allegedly, we've heard that before.
like to run the ball. So I'm gonna need y'all to, probably gonna have to bleep this out. I'm gonna need y'all
That's
to hold
just
y'all.
a fan statement, but
Yeah.
we've heard that we've
Couple
heard
years.
that for sure the last three years. They
Yeah.
have a great offensive line. Tennessee
I'm,
has a great offensive line. They have a
yeah.
great, and we played them, and it ain't that. So I'm not falling for it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, and to lead us into early predictions. We'll talk about it later in the week as well. Real predictions and a little bit more of a breakdown. But I'm not gonna say we finna straight out, flat out dominate them at the line of scrimmage. However, if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. But I do think it's not gonna be a domination, but we're gonna win. It's gonna be a victory at the end of the day for the defensive line going against that offensive line. And I have to double down on those linebackers. Chris Cole is crazy. Justin Williams crazy. Raylan Wilson, last name sake, I'm loving what you're doing, dog. You're doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And of course, CJ Allen, I mean,
He's just
he's wearing that
tried and
he's wearing
true.
that
Like,
3 well.
yeah, he's tried and true. He's playing like that guy, and it's weird. It happens every 3 years from what I've seen so far. We started
Yeah.
off, I would say, this Kirby term with Roquan Smith. Then we got Nakobe Dean coming in as a freshman playing. Um, Even when you've had guys that have made the league, like I feel like damn near every linebacker, for the most part, that's gotten real PT has made the league, even if
They all
they
have.
aren't in the league anymore. Like they've made them, like Monty Rice, Tay
Yeah.
Crowder, uh,
Yeah. Tay is a good point out. Tay is a
like
good point out.
that's development. Like he used to be a running back and he transitioned to being a linebacker, and he was like a 7th round pick, but he stuck in the league for a little bit.
He did.
Um,
He at least made a little bread. He made a little bread.
Monty Rice was that guy initially, and then Nakobe Dean was a freshman. Channing Tindall, another one that made the league as well. Like, but I think right now, CJ Allen is taking that Nakobe Dean, um, Roquan Smith role of like, I'm the guy, I'm calling the plays, I'm getting everybody situated and whatnot. I guess like it would be like the equivalent of wearing a green dot in college,
Mm-hmm.
in high school. But I think, he's that guy. They're giving him the plays and whatnot. He's getting everybody together. He's playing again. This is your junior year. This is the money year. He's playing like he does not respectfully want to be here at UGA next year, which is I would say is a good and a bad thing. Bad thing because you kind of need the experience. You as a Georgia fan, you want that experience from a linebacker on your defense. Good thing because it keeps the chain moving, especially like when it comes to recruiting. And it's a good thing like if you put another linebacker in the league as well that goes on to do great things. We have a plethora of them, I would say, that are doing their thing. And
We have the proof. We talk about it a lot with talk about it a little bit with Mike Bobo and just the offense in general. And I think we've given, not to go back to the offense, but we've given a lot of crap to Mike Bobo. I think this week and really rewatching the game 2 to 3 times will give you a proof of concept. Bobo has the proof of concept to throw the ball down the field. Bobo has the proof of concept to scheme people open. We don't like the screens. We just simply don't. That pisses us off as fans. The repetitiveness of these screens, especially considering, like I said earlier, I feel like you lied to me, or you didn't lie to me. You told me last year it was because it was an extension of the run game. This year, I need a new explanation for 7 screens being thrown. I just need that. We've seen proof of concept. We've seen proof of concept of the linebackers, plain and simple.
yeah,
We know we develop them. We know they're gonna play well.
Will Shields
Um,
does his thing.
that just is what it is. We do our thing with the linebackers inside and outside. I actually was just checking in on what Tay Crowder is doing, just looking at his Instagram post from like a month ago, saying he took 2 years off for due to small injuries, and it was really a if you know type of thing. People didn't know that's what was going on. If you didn't know, you wasn't in the circle, you didn't know. So apparently he took 2 years off voluntarily, quote unquote, because of injuries. And I mean, he's playing in the UFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, because I know his work ethic and I know how good he is. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in the NFL next year. But he's in the UFL this year, so we'll see what he got. That was something he just posted 4 weeks ago. So getting a lot of love on that. And I love Tay Crowder just because he was a dog at the end of the day. He played hard, and he was, again, the biggest thing about defense, being on defense, just don't be out of position.
Yeah,
So
give
I
me,
got to
give
double
me
down on that.
real deal effort. And then I would say like D line at some point. this defensive line will get tested. Now, I will say one thing, right? The way this defense is run, we don't really let edge rushers just like get after it like other teams do. As a perfect example of this, we got two guys that I think I've seen do pretty well at other places. One being Damon Wilson, who transferred to Missouri. I think he's already off to a pretty hot start. He has 2 sacks, maybe like
Mhm.
2.5 sacks out of Missouri through these 2 games. And then Marvin Jones Jr. plays at Oklahoma now, transferred to Florida State, and then transferred from Florida State to Oklahoma. He's having a pretty solid year. I don't know if what his sack numbers are. I've just seen him be more active, I would say. Um, at Georgia, we don't really like just unless you're just a terror, I would say off the edge.
He has no sacks this year thus far, just 2 total tackles.
To tackle, yeah. But I know what I saw yesterday when they played Michigan. Like he was physical, which was a problem apparently at Georgia. Didn't really set the edge. That's one thing we want our guys on the D line to do.
Discipline.
Yeah, a lot of them had to be disciplined. Hold your gaps. It's really this defense is more so about letting the linebackers flourish more than anything, as opposed to letting your ends just be terrors. Like I said, unless you're just a physical marvel of a talent, very rarely do we have in Kirby Smart's offense in particular just a guy to go crazy. I think the one person that I would argue probably was the best pure pass rusher, and he had the unfortunate incident. I'm not even gonna get into that. I would say it was Adam Anderson. What you mentioned in 2021, he
Yeah,
was two. I'm gonna give you two: Azeez Ojulari,
was a
I
problem.
think, and then Adam Anderson in 2021. He started off that year as a terror. I never really saw it from Trayvon, even though Trayvon's a really good edge. I never really saw it from Nolan from a pure pass rush standpoint. However, what I did see, edge setting. One
Yeah,
thing you got to do: stop that MF and run. If you can stop the run,
it's just contained. It's contained.
yeah,
It's contained in the quarterbacks. Well, there's a dual threat and containing running backs, keeping the run, forcing everything back in. I
yep,
think to wrap the defensive part, just we want discipline, and I think what you were trying to say, or how I would say it is, if you're gonna be a freak on the outside, pause. But if you're gonna be a freak on the edge, you better do it within my scheme. You know
yep.
what I'm saying? And when I give you the opportunities, you do it. I think of Trayvon. I
He
think
was
he
an
did that.
elite edge. Trayvon was elite edge setting.
He did it.
Nolan
And
was
he
great.
set the edge. I think Nolan, he set the edge too. It's just like
He
set
was
the edge every time I tell you to do it. And when I
yeah,
give you the opportunity to go after the quarterback, you got it. But also
yep.
when I give you the opportunity, or you're in the position where you're not play side, so you don't have to set the edge. It's up
Make
to
a
you.
yeah,
Make
go
the
make.
play. It's up to you. I'm not finna scheme. Essentially, it's just like we not finna do
We don't have these.
outside of the interior of the line. We're not doing a whole bunch of scheming. We're not doing a whole bunch of twists and turns. Right.
We got a bunch of exotic blitzes cooked
Right.
up.
The
Just
biggest
go.
thing is they like for them to strike the blocker, strike the person in front of you. We not chasing gaps. We're not chasing holes. We're not running after the ball in that sense of just chasing. We're not in a wild goose chase. We're strategic and we're disciplined. We're striking blockers. We're
We're trying to
taking on
collapse.
blocks. We're not trying to
Collapse
evade
the
blockers.
pocket. Yeah, you're trying to collapse the pocket more than anything, rather
Yeah.
than I would say it's kind of weird teaching somebody one on one to just whoop. It's more about like I said, it's more about a team collapsing the pocket than like a one on one. I'm giving you 50 million different pass rush moves, half spins, rips, hump moves, all that stuff to get to my guy. I do think, and I will say though, the one person that has currently been sticking out has been Gabe Harris. I would say I think he's been doing a really good job,
Gabe has
especially
been turning up.
um, but if I was to, I'm gonna come at the edge room as a whole. I would love to see the sack numbers get up because eventually, like I said, you're gonna run into better offensive lines who are gonna have guys who will be holding you at bay. So I would like for us to be getting after quarterbacks a
Yeah.
little bit more. I like the D line, the interior defensive line. Christian Miller's having a day. Feel like I see him get these last 2 games. I feel like I've seen him get a TFL like at least once a series, damn near. Elijah Griffin as a freshman, really doing his thing as well.
Turning up.
really doing his thing. He gets praised a lot. They have been comparing him to like Jalen Carter beforehand. He was the number one defensive line recruit coming out of high school. I think it would have been very nice if we could have gotten him and Justice Terry, but Justice Terry wanted to go to Texas. And this isn't to throw shade, I don't know what Justice Terry is currently doing at Texas. I do know, however, that Elijah Griffin is on the 2 deep immediately at University of Georgia, and
That's a
he is.
fact. That's just facts. That's just facts. That ain't feelings. That's facts, though.
Said, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything like that. Texas probably has like an older defensive line, but I know we needed help, and he could have been one of those guys.
Could have been for sure in the 2 deep for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I think to sum up the defensive part, we need. Maybe I want to see a little bit more development of the edge rushers, maybe when it comes to the times that they get matched up one-on-one. But I also just think at the end of the day, y'all are some guys. Our edge rushers are some guys. When y'all get the one-on-one opportunities, go get the quarterback. Plain and simple.
You know what's crazy though? That edge rushing group, I feel like hasn't been like a pure pass rushing group since Dan Lanning's been here because the philosophy was different.
Yeah, Dan Lanning sent the dogs out.
Yeah, Dan Lanning called the defense, and he was the outside linebackers coach. Yeah, whereas Schumann was our inside linebackers coach as well. And then you had Trey Scott doing the D line. So the D line's responsibilities, like I said, similar beforehand. Like I said, that especially that first year when we won the chip, that year was crazy. Like when we had that elite D line, you had Trayvon was technically with the D line group, but they had Nolan was with the edge group, Adam Anderson was with the edge group. You had Robert Beal. I feel like I'm missing somebody else on that edge group, but we had waves of guys.
Beal, he went to Ole Miss. It was somebody. You are missing somebody. You're missing somebody. If you want to go way back. Britton Cox, but
it's too. Yeah, he tripped. Old time.
I don't know who else.
And again, speaking of, and I'm not trying to be funny. Speaking of, he's actually in the league now. But that's a perfect example.
He got kicked. He got It was some issue he had in the league.
Yes, but I'm saying here's where I'm talking about the roles and responsibilities of what
the Packers right now. So
Georgia's edge group is about. He didn't really want to, run defend necessarily. I feel like everybody comes out of high school just wants to rush the passer, and you can't get pass rushing opportunities unless you're stopping a run and then you're getting him into a third down. That's when you then can pin your ears back and show off what you got. Show off your athleticism.
Do your dirty work, and then we can talk from there. You got to do what you got. I've heard it a lot of times in this way in life. It's just like, do your got to do's, and then you have the opportunity to do your want to do's. Yeah, y'all want to rush the passer, you got to stop the run. You got to set the edge. Do that.
I know, like one of the people that we used to, as Georgia fans, people used to complain about a lot, and he's made the Vikings roster. It's Chaz Chambliss. Chaz Chambliss personally is not the best pass rusher. He is not good at rushing the passer to me. Chaz Chambliss, however, is a very, very elite edge setter at 6'2", 6'3", 250, however much he was. But that's just what he does. Like, that's what he's good at. He will stonewall a tight end. He's stonewalling a tackle. He's stonewalling a pulling guard. Like, he's doing that. And what does that do? That causes the running back to have to flow back into the middle of the field where my linebackers are now shooting gaps. And making
or just it presents a one-on-one opportunity with my linebacker, who I feel like is a sure tackler if you do make the play, if you make the play go outside. But yeah, we'll be back with y'all a little later this week to dive in a little deeper. But of course, if you can't catch us this week because work is hectic, tap in with us after the game this Saturday. We're gonna have the instant reactions to that win. I'm gonna go ahead and claim it. Tap in with us this Saturday, right after that 3:30 game for the win. So that's it here. My boy GP, appreciate you, brother. That's it for the Red Clay Report. We'll holler at y'all.